Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achad, Samai, Yasha Allah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achad, Samai, Yasha Allah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achad. Shalom Akyam. I was a high spirit wind Judah of the GMS Mississippi camp, giving our honor and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashemi, Hawashai, Bahashor Hakudash. I also want to give double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of the great millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the house of David the elect. All right. And today I want to go into a live stream entitled, You Don't Have to Wait to the Kingdom to Act Like One. All right. Because some of the things that we might have misunderstood and or mentality that we may have developed. All right, shalom, shalom. All right, sisters and brothers, Akim and Akwakim who are tuning in. All right. One thing that we've developed, some of us, not all of us, is a mindset that we have to put up with mediocrity, or we have to put up with, you know, things that's beneath us into the kingdom. All right, whether it's, you know, certain jobs that we worked, or, you know, certain people that you have in your life, you know, certain things that you allow into your home, certain things that, you know, you put into your life. All right, the scripture says to rehearse the righteous act. All right, rehearse the righteous acts, which ultimately goes into the laws. But within our laws is self-esteem and self-respect. All right, so we've been broken down in a society. Okay, so some of us have, in error, all right, have taken things in our lives. So I'm usually when I do lessons like this, I'm speaking for myself, and I go into my own personal growth. Then I do lessons because I know it applies to certain brothers and certain sisters. Okay, and you know, me being in a brotherhood, and me and other brothers, we're growing together, and we've experienced things together. Okay, and one thing that, you know, you realize is that you deal with certain things, and the reason why you deal with certain things that's beneath you, because you deal with it out of necessity. All right, sometimes you might deal with a woman that's no good because you were dealing from a state of necessity, because in this truth, the Most High put you in a drought. All right, same thing with a job. You might have gotten this mediocre job, or this back-breaking job that just basically they got you on the wavelength of an animal, but you dealt with it out of necessity because it was hard to find a job. It was hard to find work. So you were just broken down to the point where you were happy to find work, and rightfully so, because it's better to work than not work, but you don't have to stay there. You see, you deal with certain things to get a few paychecks coming in, but while you're there, you start looking for something better. Okay, now, but the reason why I'm saying this, because sometimes we will use the endure hardness mindset, all right, out of context with certain avenues in our life. So certain things you do have to endure, and it is a part of your chastening. But another aspect of that is a ruling class mentality. You know, some of us have abilities, all right, that we're not using, all right, abilities that we can monetize that doesn't jeopardize our principles in the truth. Okay, and we could use those things. There's different ways. You don't have to just be, you know, complete slave robot for Esau Edom. All right. Another thing is, a lot of times we indulge in things. Well, wait a minute. Before I continue to talk, let me quote a scripture. All right, Sirach, the 10th chapter, around the 27th verse, it says, you know, glorify thy soul with meekness, and give it honor according to the dignity thereof. So your soul is yourself. So you do glorify your soul in meekness. So you do esteem yourself, but with humility. Then it says, and give it honor according to the dignity. Now the word dignity goes back to dignus, which means worth. So if you have some type of dignity about yourself, you are projecting worth about yourself. All right, so a lot of times the world is only going to act, the world is going to treat you based on how you treat yourself, because what you accept is indicative of how you feel about yourself. Like I said, I speak from experience. All right, so sometimes you can't be inside your head like, why did this happen to me, or why did they do this? Well, because you allowed them to, you know, well, you allowed the world to do that. All right, so we have humility, but we also have self-worth. That's why I named the live stream, you know, we don't have to wait to the kingdom to act like one. Okay, and we have certain tools of power now. All right, We have certain tools of power now for brothers and sisters who are health conscious. You know, discipline is a form of power. All right, discipline is a form of power. So for brothers and sisters who are health conscious, if you had a power over your own devices to eat a salad over, let's say, some church's chicken, that's a form of power. All right, that's a form of power, and that's a sign of esteem. Okay, and they're just one form of that, man. All right, for certain brothers that you had the ability, all right, to turn certain women down despite the prospect of sex per se. All right, that's a form of power. That goes back to that ruling class mentality. A ruling class mentality or aristocratic mentality, they only want the best. Now we know we're not going to get the top things in Babylon, but we have certain things within the Most High gave us leeway so that we can still practice ruling class mentality. One of the things that we might have misconstrued is that we gotta wait to the kingdom to want better, man, or want something that has quality. One of the things that we have misconstrued is that we have to wait to the kingdom to partake in quality, man. You know, it's okay to want quality. You know, the world automatically thinks that you're gonna get leftovers, everything. That's an extension of slavery, that we got Esau's leftovers. So the world automatically thinks that the Jakes in America, they don't mind eating low grade food. They don't mind, a low grade lifestyle, as long as it feels good to the flesh, man. All right, that's a peasant mindset, man. Hey, Shalom, vendors of his temple, 144. He has a scripture, Luke 17:21. Neither shall they say, lo here or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of Yahweh is within you. Ate the water, brother. One of the things we may or may not know is that the Most High is shaping us on this side to rule on that side. What he's molding us to be on this side, the other side will just be a continuation of him working on us on this side. That's why he says in the scriptures, I will finish my work. The Most High is working on the house of David. He's working on the elect, man, on the hopeful elect, man. He's working on us. So it's time for us to actually maneuver in this world with some type of worth. Like I said, that's the beginning phases of a ruling class mentality, where you can discipline the desires of your beastly nature, all right, and you can subject that beastly nature within you to get something of quality, all right. But Esau sort of puts us in that mindset because he puts us in a state of necessity. Me personally, I just speak as I speak as an individual. If I'm finna pay a car note, which I'd rather not pay a car note. If I'm gonna get a car note, god damn it, I want a car I want. Sure, I'm finna pay a car note anyway. But you know how it is when you're in a state of necessity and you might got a stimulus check and you just get whatever they give you, man. All right. But the point is, one thing that we should practice is having self-worth and projecting that worth by only wanting quality, man. Quality, class belongs to kings, man. All right? Class belongs to kings, man. A ruling class mentality, they pretty much demand quality. They pretty much demand quality. So a lot of us, we'll eat. We came in the truth, eating poor food, or, chasing ratchet Eve or whatever it may have been. I'm gonna just get my rocks off. Well, the halfway decent women, they got the same thing that the ratchet woman got. You might as well go with the more decent women. You see? You see how that works? We can't move like the common people, man. Esau want us to move like Esau is perfectly cool with you being a damn nigga. All right? Yet he's not he doesn't want to be a nigga, you see? So the point is, man, we have to sort of deconstruct certain mindsets that we had coming into this truth. If that meant that, we basically moved in his life on a low level. Now, does it mean get in debt so you could drive some nice Lamborghini or something? No, we're not using a Western mindset. We doing all this stuff to project power to the world. No, but you do put yourself in a quality position, okay? All right, because that's what you're worth. You put quality in your life, all right? I got a video that I did yesterday that I'm gonna upload today, and it goes into being a gatekeeper. You are the gatekeeper of your life. You control access, or you control who has access to you. All right. And the standard should at least be set at quality, man. All right. Quality people in your life. All right. Quality food in your house. Of course, we had the laws as the foundation. But see, in Babylon, you can keep the laws and still have a mediocre life, or you can still have a degenerate life, because you could go to Burger King and tell them no bacon. You see? And sometimes, you operating off necessity. Sometimes you do eat that BS, but you don't do it all the time. That's the point. We all understand how it is, man. But the standard should at least be set at quality, no matter what it is in our lives, man. We got to pray Yahweh Shema Shai, all right, to give us that spirit, man, because Yahweh Shema Shai doesn't want us to be some weak, passive Christians, man. That's not what it means to be a man of Yahweh Shema Shai, or a woman of Yahweh Shema Shai, for that matter, all right? And even going back to the women, all right, you have power who has access to you. You have power and control who has access to you, man. All right. Eve be out here mad as hell at Jake, but then you look at who she fuck with. She be fucking with niggas straight out of a rap video, man. You know what I mean? Straight killers, man. What the hell you think was gonna happen out of that? But then Jake be frustrated too. But look what you chasing, man. All right. Look what you pursuing, man. All right. So it's time for us. And part of a ruler class mentality requires discipline, because Esau gonna put the low grade stuff in your face all day, man. Esau gonna put the 4 for 4 and the pick 5 in your face, and he gonna make it cheap and accessible all day. All right, even certain platforms, men look for women and women look for men. The low grade stuff is right in your face, man. But usually it results in a low level outcome, for lack of better words, man. All right. But going back to the point, man, the point is we don't have to wait to the kingdom to have a ruling class mentality. Like I said, that doesn't mean go in debt to project to the world that you got a nice car or get some big house, right? That's a Western mindset. Like that high value male stuff, a lot of that is rooted in living out the fashion of this world to attract women. But what did King Solomon say? That was all vanity, man. All right. Really said, basically in so many words, King Solomon said there was nothing better really for a man to simply enjoy the fruits of his labor. All right. So in our homeland, Jerusalem, just having a simple life, hey, that was good enough, man. Fearing Yahweh Shema Shai and enjoying the fruit of your labor, hey, that's good enough. See, in the kingdom, we're going to enjoy the fruit of what we're doing now, because right now we're laboring in the vineyard. So in the kingdom, we're going to enjoy the fruit of what we're doing now, man. All right. One of the things that we can add to the arsenal, all right, is ultimately, self-worth. Because a lot of us have been beaten down in this society, man. All right. A lot of us have been beaten down to society, and we don't even realize that it's on a subconscious level. Like I think I said it last week. One of the elders in the camp, he said he does affirmations. Look in the mirror and say, I am great, man. But anything you do in repetition, you're reprogramming your subconscious. So now you're reprogramming yourself, man. All right. But when you get so warped into this world of Israel, it automatically builds your worth up, man. All right. And that's why the Most High wants you to unplug from so-called black culture, so-called Hispanic culture, all right, American culture, because that automatically sets your worth down here, man. I gotta point my hand. It automatically sets your worth down there. Okay. Going back to Sirach 10, man. Glorify thy soul with meekness and give it honor according to the dignity thereof, man. Okay. Like the brother put up vengeance of his temple 144. Hey, the kingdom is within us, man. The 17th chapter in Luke, was it? The kingdom is within us. Okay. So, like I said, one of the mindsets that we have to deconstruct within ourselves is that we have to put up with low grade anything. All right. All right. We don't let anything enter into our world. All right. If it throws us off balance. All right. If it harms us, if it takes anything away from us, no matter what it is. And like I said, part of having power is really operating off a standard. You don't have to wait to the kingdom to operate off a standard. All right. And we're all guilty of not operating off a standard. I can speak for myself. All right. But we rehearse the righteous acts, man. The mindset of a king It's to operate off his principles, to operate off his standards. When certain kings had decrees, all right, to kill the prophets, whether it was the prophet Daniel or going back to the book of Esther, they were subject to those decrees, even though they regretted it because they was moving off those pillars of their principles, man. They knew that their word was bond. But part of a ruling class mentality, all right, is having a discipline to control your devices, to operate off a standard, all right, that produces a more higher quality outcome. So going back to what I said earlier, if you have the self-control to eat healthy, that's a form of power. If you have self-control to turn down something that can be enticing, yet is low value, that's a form of power. To be able to turn down something that's tempting, but yet is low grade, that's a form of power, man. All right? Esau wants us operating at a peasant level where we're just going off our basic instincts, man. All right? Which is basically feed yourself, basically feed your flesh. All right? Esau set up the perfect kingdom of degeneracy where everything that can destroy you is easily accessible and available, man. And it's cheap. All right? But part of a form of power is being able to control your flesh or control your beastly nature to receive a more superior outcome. And it might take time of patience and time of deprivation, but you're sticking to your standard, okay? Part of having a ruling class mentality for the brothers and the sisters is operating off a standard versus your flesh, versus your emotion, okay? That's a form of evolving, and that's a form of a ruling class mentality. That doesn't mean you're going to be driving around in a Bentley because that's your standard. That doesn't mean you're going to be in some 3-story mansion because that's your standard. But quality is your standard. Something that you have access to, okay? Like I said, the scriptures always goes into mortifying the members of your flesh, all right? Colossians the 3rd chapter, all right? But we don't have to wait till the kingdom. We could practice now, all right? Like I said, I listen to rap from time to time, but I also listen to smooth jazz. I listen to certain, ambient music, all right? This is Jill Mess Memphis Yakanan Ba, Sirach 18 and 30. Go not after thy lust, but refrain thyself from thine appetites. If thou givest thy soul the desires that please her, she will make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies that malign thee. Beautiful scripture, all right? Because when you go after your flesh, that causes an addiction. And basically, when you're subject to an addiction, you're a fiend to that thing. And nobody respects a fiend. Because they know no matter how bad they treat that fiend is going to come back to their product. So a form of having power is having self-control. Not self-control just so you could be a stoic. Not self-control just because you're asexual. No, self-control because that particular thing that's presented to you doesn't fit your standard. And kings have standards. Princesses have standards. Royalty has standards. Okay? You can't bring fast food to a king. You can't present a chick like Cardi B to a king. You don't have to wait till a kingdom to have those standards, man. One thing that's associated with being a king is something that's high grade. Class belongs to kings. Something that's high grade belongs to a king. Something that's low grade, that's for the common people. The house of David is not the common people. Okay? Does that mean we go in the world and we treat people like crap? No. Because the scripture says, follow peace with all men. And if you look at how a prince moves, all right, the prince will pick up the baby, he hugs the baby, he waves at people, he shakes people's hands. That's moving like a prince. The president does that, the governor does that, and they're basically princes. All right? So they're nice to people, but they operate off a standard. All right? So we have to pray to Yahweh Shema Shai to fortify our spirits, fortify our souls, and have control over our flesh so we can move at a higher frequency, so to speak, man. At a higher strata, so to speak, man. All right? But you don't have to wait to the kingdom to be a king. You don't have to wait to the kingdom to act like a king. And one of the essence of a king, the nature of a king, is to move off standards versus their flesh. And one thing I'm learning as a man is that in order to move like a king, you have to have control. And I'm just being a man because there's men on this lesson. You have to have control over your ride and your emotions. The thing that makes you a good judge, the thing that makes you a king is a judge. And one of the things that makes you a good judge in this world, is that you have to have control over your ride and your emotions. All right, one of the requirements of being in this truth is that you have to have control over your emotions. If you make a decision, or if you're in a situation, all right, where you're faced with two conflicting perspectives. One perspective is from your emotion, and the other perspective is from your better judgment, your logic and reason. If you make a decision based on the emotion and not the better judgment, then you're not being a good judge, which means you're not being a king. Okay? Part of being a leader for your people, part of being a ruler, all right, is that you're able to distinguish your emotional judgment versus your judgment from your better logic and reason, your judgment from your mind. So we're human. We're in this flesh. So you're going to have emotion. But if you're able to separate that emotion from your better judgment and make the decision off the better judgment, now you're being a king. Now you're being a judge. And that's what we have to pray for. Proverbs 25:28. He that have no rule over his own spirit is like a city broken down and without walls. It's heavy because you are like a city, right? Well, your standards, that's like the walls that protect that city. All right? Your judgment is like the walls that protect that city. That's why you call it that protect the city or that military base a fort, because it's fortified with walls. So your standards, they fortify your soul, they fortify your life because they filter out things that'll be destructive for your city. But if you don't have standards, if you don't have principles, if you can't see through the smoke of emotion or through the smoke of the prospect of pleasing your flesh, if you can't see through that smoke and make the decision past that smoke, your city is going to get overthrown. Because in this world, either in this world, somebody has to play by your rules and live in your world, or you're going to play by their rules and live in their world. GMS must endure 144K, Proverbs 14:12. There's a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. And we have to pray to Yahweh Shema Shai to give us the discernment to be better judges. All right? And the most elementary or the most basic level of that is the laws, statutes, and commandments. All right? The laws, statutes, and commandments make you a damn good judge. Yes, that woman looks good. And yes, she has a ring on her finger. Keep it moving. Yes, she's cool. Yes, she's your coworker. Keep it mutual and keep it moving. All right? Yes, that burger look good. Yes, it has bacon in it. Keep it. You're being a judge. And you're practicing right there to separate your flesh from knowing what's right and wrong. See, in America, our flesh determines what's right and wrong. That was us being heathens. That was us being Gentiles. That was us being a wild olive branch. We were uncultivated in the laws. We were uncivilized. We were not being ruling. We were not being kings and priests. All right. We were being damn beasts. We were being damn animals. Like when that Peter had that vision. I mean, the book of Acts, the 10th chapter. All right. He had the vision and he saw 4-footed beasts, unclean beasts. But that was really like us in those Gentile states, man. All right. That was us in that Gentile state. All right. But now we have royal laws to govern that beastly nature. All right. But now we have to overcome another hurdle. All right. We have to overcome another hurdle. Not only keeping those laws, but not bringing anything into our existence that'll be detrimental to us in the long term, but feels good to us short term. That's the nature of America. America is a whore. A whore feels good short term, but she's going to destroy you long term. That's why the food, it feels good short term, but in long term, you have all type of health issues. All right. The women, they look damn good short term with their bodies. But Jake always complaining about child support and check garnishing, and he can't see his kids and This, that, because you got trapped by the instant gratification. All right, but part of our ruling class mentality that Yahweh Shema Shai is cultivating in us is that we only want high grade. We only want quality. And looks does not determine quality. Something could look good, it could be low quality. All right. A woman is out there, she has many partners, a casual dater. She might look good, but she still, guess what? Low quality. Okay. You drive past, I don't know what, Burger King. You can smell, they open up the vent. You can smell the burger. It smells good. Still low quality. You know? Might not be a sin to eat it, but it's still low quality. You got to peep game. The Most High want us to have he want us to be royal people, man. Looks can be deceiving. Hey, beautiful point. Bunyan Yasha'Allah. Looks can be deceiving, man. And really, something that has value is not easily accessible. And also, something that has value, all right, is not really promoted to you like that. Yahweh Shai said, "Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you." All right. He got us in the slick. He woke us up on the slick, man. He revealed to us these precious jewels on the slick. All right. To where he did it in parables in the ancient world. And now he set up stumbling blocks on this side, because the men that delivered the word to us, they were wearing sackcloth. They were yelling on the highways and the byways. But he already put that seed in our mind to be receptive of it. But he did that because he didn't want the world to get it. You see? So something that has value, first of all, it's not in abundance, and it's not easily accessible. Gold and silver has value. It's not easily accessible. All right? Like I said, so guess what? We have value. We shouldn't be easily accessible. People in your life, they should be VIP. It's a particular brother, you know. I've known that brother since I was in the 5th grade, man. But for a long time in my life, you would have thought I was deaf or mute. Like, man, this man don't say nothing. But to this particular brother, he knew my whole mind. He knew my whole world, man. I was a whole nother person. Because I ain't trust nobody. I ain't trust that many people. Or the people I hung with in my neighborhood, you know, the way I was around them, I was different around people in my class because I didn't really know them like that. You know? I mean, I was in the world. I ain't know better, you know? But at least I would like to think that I had some type of trait of, I don't know you, so I can't open up my world to you like that. That's why the scripture says, you know, give not a man credit before you know him, man. You see? Give not a man credit before you know him. You see? But it's all about that standard. You don't have to wait to the kingdom to act like a king, man. Or a princess or a royalty. And what comes with being a king or royalty or a princess? Standards. But it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done. It takes discipline to have standards. It takes discipline to have something in your life that fits the vision that you have for how you want your life to be. Okay? That's what separates you from the masses. You know? That's what separates you, man. All right? So, and that's why it says also, they had this quote from the movie Black Panther. When it first came out, they said it's hard for a good man to be king. Why is it hard for a good man to be king? Because a good man has compassion. All right? And a good man operates off compassion. And a lot of times when you have compassion, you put the world before you. You put people before you. I know I've done it. You put people's needs and wants before your own wants. All right? That's a good man, but that's not being a king. And the way they played out in the movie Black Panther, T'Challa was supposed to kill the Edomite that killed his father. He's really supposed to bring his head back to the kingdom. And when he didn't do that out of compassion, that's like a sign of weakness. All right? But a king doesn't move off compassion. Kings move off standards. All right? St. John 8:23. And he said unto them, you are from beneath, and I am from above. You are of this world, and I am not of this world. So, come, brother. Pa. Hey, the world, when I say the world, we're talking about the 2/3 in other nations. They're from beneath, man. But Yahweh Shema Shai, he's from above, man. Hey, coming to America too. You know? It's all about that standard, man. And the standard maintains your kingdom. Your life is a kingdom. The world you have in you, your apartment and your soul and what you got, that's your kingdom, man. And you let degenerate things come into your life, that's wearing down your kingdom. No different from you actually have a town or a city and you start letting niggas come in your city. You let people sell drugs in your city. You let women sell their body in their city. All right, people fighting. What would that do to your city? After a period of time, it's going to start running down your city and people are going to start leaving. It's going to be uninhabitable. But you are the city within yourself. The first thing we have to do is govern ourselves. All right, GMS must endure 144K. All right, 1 Peter 1:16, because it is written, be ye holy, for I am holy. All right, that's right. Be ye holy, for I am holy, man. So, hey, man, I'm loving this thing we're building up right now, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai and the water of Yahweh Shema Shai, for giving us more than just the knowledge. Like, yeah, he gave us the laws, but men over here in GMS, and we're building into the kingdom, man. The Most High is making us like unto him. 1 John, the first chapter and the first verse, it says basically we're going to see him face to face because we're going to be like him. So Yahweh Shema Shai, he separated us from the world to mold us to be like him. But that's just not in theory. Like we say that and we say it in abstractions, but how do we play that out in real world? Well, Yahweh Shema Shai is a king. He's a king of the earth. And he has a standard of how he wants his earth to be run, starting with the nation of Israel. And we're supposed to implement those standards throughout the planet earth through the laws. Those laws are a standard of how the earth should be run. All right. And that kingdom extends to your house. When someone goes to your house, they're really walking into Jerusalem, man. All right. GMS fight for salvation. Galatians 5:16. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and you should not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Come on, brother. Hey, walk in the spirit, you know, starting with the laws, statutes, and commandments. All right. Those standards, those laws, they govern your flesh. They subdue your flesh. So when you come into this truth, the first thing you have to do is conquer your flesh. Another thing you have to do is conquer your ego, which is an extension of your flesh. Another thing you have to do is conquer your emotions, which is also an extension of the flesh. So in this world, because all throughout the scriptures, it tells you how to be a judge. You know, when it comes to judging and being a judge, don't take bribery. All right. Examine a case before you hear the whole matter before you make a judgment. All right. All throughout our laws is grooming us to be judges. All right. Strive for the truth. Ecclesiasticus 11:29. Bring not every man into thy house, for the deceitful man have many trains. That's the scripture I brought out for the other lesson about access. You have power. They have access to who comes in your life. All right. Bring not every man to your house. That's how a governor. All right. That's how in the ancient world we had our cities. All right. You had to check in. You had to give your genealogy of where you came from, man. All right. We had gatekeepers, man. All right. Men at the gates. You couldn't just come to the city, man. You had to have proof that you had family here or whatever, man. Okay. But that's how you got to be on your own personal level, man. You can't bring every man into your life or bring every entity into your house or your life, because people affect your spirits, man. They'll affect your mindset. It's a scripture in Sirach. It tells you not to be around basically a foolish man, because there's so many words, his spirit will rub off on you, you know, in so many words, man. All right. Sirach 11:34. Sirach, receive a stranger into thy house, and he will disturb thee and turn thee out of thy own house. All right, come. All right. Then it says stranger, man. All right, that's why the scripture says, in Sirach, give not a man credit before you know him, man. But this is the trial of man. You got to prove a friend before you know him. And even camp leaders, man, we can't just start, people ask you different things. We got to know who you are before you come by the camp, man. Because you're a gatekeeper to the camp. Especially with these mandate of, no new brothers. All right. But then, you have men who they've not in GMS per se. They follow GMS, but they teach on their own. You see the videos, you have to see stuff like that. I think that's the scripture, brother. The water, strive for truth. Sirach 13:1. He that toucheth pitch should be defiled therewith, and he that have fellowship with the proud man should be like unto him. So, hey, it's that standard. But one challenge I know, to be honest, is that sometimes you will have an emotional attachment to people you shouldn't be around. Or Like it might be a woman. You might see the signs that she, no good or whatever, but you'll be horny. But a king, and nobody can really. There's no law against dealing with that in this proper context, But ruling class mentality is the decision is not made on your emotions, and the decision is not made on your ride or your libido. The decision is made off the standard. When you can make a decision that's over your emotions and that's over your libido, now you being a king. Now you being a king, because the king judges. Like it says in I think it's 2 Samuel. It's the 2 Samuel says, oh, the nation of Israel desired a king because the other nations had a king. So they said, oh, that we were like the other nations and had a king to judge us, showing that a king judges. But like how the guy T.I. had a clothing line called a coup, which is the acronym for a king of oneself. All right. Sirach 13 and 16. All flesh, this is from Chariots of Israel 3. All flesh consorted according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. All right, this is strive for truth. Deuteronomy 32 and 29. Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end. All right. But going back to the point, okay, is that part of, the Most High set this thing up. See, we a lot of us think, we come into the knowledge, we keep the laws, we don't eat pork, we take the bacon off our burger, and that's it. We put on the garment, we curse out the so-called white man, we curse out the so-called black woman, then we go home, drive home, listen to Tupac. We think that's how that works. Then we're gonna ascend into a chariot, and we just gonna automatically have it in the kingdom. Now, I know the scripture says the Most High gonna put his laws in our mind. All right, who we are now is only gonna be a continuation. Is only the beginning of who we are gonna be in the kingdom, man. He's building us up now. All right. So part of being a judge, we gotta judge our own personal life. We have to be the gatekeepers and the judges and the rulers of our own personal life. And whoever's in your life, they gotta get jiggy with it, man. They gotta get with the program. Because either you're going to go by their rules or they're going to go by your rules. Either you live in their world or they live in your world, man. Okay? But we have to practice being a king of our own selves through these laws. All right? And like I said, one challenge is that most of the decisions that you make, most of the things you're going to be presented with is going to be a challenge because it feels good to your flesh. Things that's not good for you a lot of times feel good to your flesh, man. This is GMS Endure 144K. Psalms 2 and 10. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Yapa. I love that scripture. All right. The house of David, the elect, man, the hopeful elect, you are judges. But in order, the Most High is grooming you, he's training you. The first steps to being a judge is judge your own life. Like it says in Peter, that the saints should judge the world. How much more should we judge the small matters now? Hey, you're practicing. You're practicing. Period. And I have to admit, when I'm around brothers that I see how they move in the world, they have standards, I can't help but to respect them more. When I go around the brothers, they kind of particular about certain things. They kind of project a certain type of elitism about them, man. You know what I mean? It kind of projects some type of elitism about it. I can't help but to respect them even more. Don't get me wrong. I respect all the brothers that's sincere, but when you around them certain brothers that they kind of particular about certain things, they kind of exude a certain energy like they already in the kingdom, man. You know what I mean? You can't help but to respect that, man. All right? So going back to that analogy about the good man and the king, there's nothing wrong with being a good man, but a good man usually makes his decision off compassion. But a king makes his decision off his principles. And the difference between a good man and a king, at the end result is that good man through compassion end up putting other people before him, whereas the king, he put himself first. You see? Nothing wrong with being a good man. We are ordered to be good people. We're ordered to be good brothers. But when it comes to decision making that's going to affect your life and the direction of where your life is going, you have to put you first, man. There's nothing wrong with putting you first. That's part of their ruling class mentality. Because if you don't put yourself first and you don't put your needs and wants first, you're going to end up putting it for people in the world. Now, it's different in the brotherhood because in the brotherhood requires sacrifice. So sometimes you might have to take an L for a brother. But really, it's a payoff on that because they just got charged to your spiritual bank account and you just got omitted for some sin you committed. You just got omitted for some poor decision you made a while back through dealing with that brother. You know, it's Sirach 32 and 32. And all thy works keep to thyself the preeminence, leave not a stain in thy honor. You know, reputation is everything. But it says, in all thy work, keep to thyself the preeminence, man. Because it tells you in Sirach, I think that is 32, either the 32nd chapter or the 37th chapter, that don't give things away that you'll regret after you give them away. That might be in the same chapter. I can't remember right off the bat right now. But don't give something away that you're going to regret that you gave it away. Compassion to make you do that. You know, if somebody, you know, need $10, you know, well, hey, get them $5, man, because you got to eat too. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you gotta eat too. You know what I mean? Don't give somebody your last. Like I said, you know, we make sacrifices in the brotherhood, but that's why we have a tight system within the brotherhood. So one person doesn't have to break their pockets, man. Okay? But yeah, when it comes to the world, man, hey, keep yourself the preeminence. Meaning, keep yourself the greater portion. Also, make a decision where you benefit the most out of it, man. You know? Don't be a servant to the world. Now the world gonna have to bend to you, man. We've done it already. We've been those people already, man. We've been the nice guys already, the good guys. Now it's time to be kings. You know, do what you love, do what you want to do. Like I said, if it's something that keep you from teaching or knock you out the spirit, well, it goes back to Sirach 37. Prove thy soul in thy life, and that which is evil for it, give not that unto it. So if it's something that you've allowed in your life or in your spirit that's taking you out the spirit, then you got to take it right back out your life. But at least you know that that's one thing that's not good for your spirit. You know, that's another thing. Don't be beating yourself up over certain decisions you make. Like, damn, you know, sometimes it takes experience to know what's not good for you. You know, some brothers, when it comes to women, they're better off not having a woman. Some brothers, they definitely better off not having a so-called black woman. They just got a different energy to them that a lot of brothers can't handle, or a lot of brothers shouldn't handle or want to handle. Okay, some brothers, they can't make a certain amount of money and still be in the spirit, you know. But you gotta be honest with yourself and prove your soul and see what's evil for you, man. All right. But man, that's pretty much it, man. I don't even want to close this live stream because I feel like I'm in the spirit, man. But that's pretty much it, man. We don't have to wait to the kingdom to act like a king. All right, you sisters, you don't have to wait to the kingdom to carry yourself as a princess, man. All right. Part of how do you non-verbally project self-respect? How you carry yourself, man. All right. Esau tries to push his narrative that alleged women like Megan Thee Stallion, all right, and women like Cardi B. Esau wants to push this narrative of the Queen of Heaven that your body is what makes you divine. All right, your body is not what makes you divine, man. It's actually your ability to cover your body. That's what you call divine femininity. Your modesty and your kindness and your meekness and, you know, you having those communication skills. That's what you call so-called divine femininity, man, because it comes from the Most High. All right, your submission to your husband. All right, and the submission doesn't just mean he tell you to go get something out the refrigerator and you go and get it. No, if you're a man of the Lord, you have a program of how you want your house to be ran. All right, it's certain things you're not going to bring to the house. It's certain things that you don't allow. And when a woman follows that program, that's her submitting to your leadership. Okay, you don't want your woman dressed in a certain way that's too provocative or whatever it may be, and she obeys that. That's her being submissive. So you got a lot of pagan Israelite women in the world where they have no qualms about having sex with a so-called black, Hispanic, or Native American man. But they do have a problem with submitting to his leadership. And his leadership is simply coming from Yahweh Shem Shai if he's a man of the Lord. Okay? So going back, we don't have to wait till the kingdom to be kings. All right. And one of the byproducts of a ruling class mentality, what that engenders is You're maneuvering out standards versus your flesh. Now, what does your flesh consist of? Your emotions, your sex drive, all right, your ego, all right. You're not moving off of those things anymore. Those things still exist in you, but you're conquering those things because your standards reign supreme. So ultimately, when you follow the laws, statutes, and commandments, that's the first steps into a ruling class mentality because you're subduing your nature, you're subduing your flesh to follow the laws of Yahweh Bashmal Shai, which basically puts you in a ruling class mentality, a ruling class. You're part of the ruling class now. You're civilized now. Now you're cultivated in the laws. But even in our everyday affairs, we do what we do in the truth. We are an extension of those laws, or we do what's an extension of those laws, and it's the same thing. You subdue your flesh, your sex drive, your ego, your emotions, and you make decisions that's based on your standards and what's best for you, and not what's best for your flesh. Okay? Because usually the things that instantly feel good to your flesh, they'll overthrow you in the long run, man. Okay? But I'm not going to keep ranting. I hope you brothers and sisters were edified. Once again, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakakudash. Double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessed to the house of David the elect. Abba, come Yashala. And we got to pray to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai to give us the discipline and the fortitude, all right, to move with these divine standards and principles versus our own flesh, our lower self, so to speak. But with that, Abba, come Yashala, Shalom.